welcome to Fox Valley Today. I'm Barb Nadeau, and welcome to the Fox Valley where you never know what's going to happen next. Every time we turn around, there's something new happening in our community, and we have a great opportunity today to introduce you to some new faces here at our studio. They're here to talk about poetry, and poetry reading is something that hasn't happened in our area as an event, and thanks to these wonderful people, they're going to bring it to us. Our guests today are Bill Robertson. Bill, you're a poet right here from Sandwich.
Yes, that's true.
It's nice to have you here.
Well, thank you. I just moved here in July of last year, and one of my claims to fame is that I have done poetry readings in both Plano, Illinois now, tomorrow night, and also in Plano, Texas.
Well, great, and it's going to be fun to hear more about this poetry reading, and it sounds, from what I'm hearing from you, as though it's really catching on throughout the area.
Yes.
And that's nice to see. With you today is Nicole Manisco, and Nicole, you're from St. Charles?
Yes, that's correct.
Thanks for coming today. And Ann Kelly, and Ann, you're from Geneva. Yes. Thank you for coming to our studio today. It's great to have you here. Poets, do they just... where do poets come from, and where are they hiding?
Everybody has poetry inside them. For me, I discovered it in 4th grade, and it's a vessel for expression.
And you are a writer. Are you a writer specifically of poetry?
Yes, poetry and short stories.
Okay, and short stories. Okay, and then how do you get published in poetry, Ann?
Having the internet is great because it brings you into contact with resources all over the world. What's surprising is that there's such a need for expression, and like I say, everybody is a poet. They all have it inside them, but what is missing is a need to connect, and that's why we're starting our local group. And we are looking for more members. So again, we're looking for people to come out and see us tomorrow night at the Plano Library.
Okay. And Nicole, tell me, how did you get involved in poetry?
Well, I started really getting involved after I had my children, and I felt I needed to express some feelings I was having, and so I just started writing and reading more of it, and then I happened upon a local open mic at Barnes & Noble in Geneva, and I met up with these people, and we just started meeting and writing and finding wherever we could find a place to get our voices heard, and it's kind of how it got started for me.
You know, I think that's interesting the way you said that. Throughout our lives, we have different periods of time, and for many people, when they're in college or in graduate work, they're doing such intense reading, constantly engaging their mind, and then if they take a different position, a job, or even raising children, which is demanding it in its own way, but you have things like nap time, and you have times when you're not engaged so intricately, and then you pull from those, you pull out these needs that you didn't even realize you had, that you want to express yourself, or you want to think about things in a deeper way that you haven't had a chance. And what a great opportunity to get out the pen and paper and start writing.
Yeah, really, it helps self-discovery, really, when you write. You know,
we're such a fast-paced society, and we have to type everything as fast as we think it. But I think poetry is different, isn't it? It's more of a pen and ink kind of experience.
Well, actually, I do most of my writing on computer.
Do you really?
Sure, because...
I like the delete.
Yeah, the delete is good, and the fact that you can cut and paste, it just makes...
Rearrange your thoughts.
Oh, you're killing me here. I have this image of, lots of paper and beautiful penmanship, and it's not that way anymore, huh?
Well, not most of the time. I do occasionally, if I'm driving to a location away from home, I always carry paper with me, so that if a poem starts to come to me, I can write down what I've got so far, and then I just go back home and type it into the computer then. But sometimes the initial writing is on paper.
It gets back to that feeling, that need to express it and write it down, no matter when, and somehow being able to pull it all together.
Yes.
I know you brought some poetry you wanted to share with us, and we also want to talk about a wonderful opportunity to become part of this for our local audience. March 14th at the Plano Library at
Yes.
7 o'clock. You're going to be reading poetry?
Yes, we will be. And everyone who comes to the reading will get a free chapbook that contains all the poems that we'll be reading, actually.
Bill, you gave me a copy of this. This is a great little book.
Yes, it is.
I was surprised. I thought, what is he talking about, a chapbook? But it's a little group of writings from each of the people who will be represented on
Right.
Tuesday night. And it's nice to read. Nice poems. I didn't know what to expect.
Mm-hmm.
But quick, some of them quick, some of them a little longer, some of them more lyrical, some of them more free verse, but all of them very interesting.
Yeah, we all have different styles of writing, and that's one of the reasons behind the name of our group, which is we call ourselves the Interzone Poets. And interzone basically means in between or intermediate, and we're sort of in between, at least Geneva and St. Charles are. We're not really city and we're not really rural. So we're in between in that sense, and we're also in between in that we don't claim to be expert. We are between expert and novice.
You're probably way too modest. Because the rest of us don't even have the wherewithal to get out and start writing poetry. And I know there's some viewers out there saying, wait a minute, Barb, I do write poetry. And hopefully they're getting intrigued in your event coming up tomorrow night. Anne, can you share a little bit of your poetry with us?
Sure. The first poem that our group will share was written by myself this summer. It is called In the Midnight Hour, and it was written at the close of Swedish Days, which is the largest festival in Illinois, and it's in Geneva. It's a great big summer fest. So I was writing at midnight. The clock struck 12, and this poem was created. In the midnight hour, the moment is still, a life is still, a heartbeat is still. The lace curtain that caresses the wind lies listless in the midnight hour. The wind that floated by earlier is gently tucked in its bed in the midnight hour. The birds that grace the delicate branches and fill their chests with song tuck their little heads under wing for the night to compose tomorrow's song. They now exist in a world of silent dream. The moon is the only one to hear the grand solo of the night.
I love that. You know, it does immediately slow you down to listen to poetry, doesn't it? And just make you be there. And you know, as I walked in today wearing a raincoat, you know, ready for whatever is going to hit me, you start and then you're transposed right away into the middle of the summer in the darkness. It's very nice. Thank you.
And for me, I'm a night owl, and I do my best work in the middle of the night.
I have to laugh because our next guest was also up late last night, and you told me already that you were up late last night as well, having the same experience of weather. And so we're going to talk about weather a little bit later in our program. Nicole, you also brought some poetry, and I know that you have a little bit of trouble with your voice, but...
Yeah, I apologize. I've been fighting laryngitis, but we'll see what I can do with it. I write very different, a little bit more interpersonal. Anyway, I'll just go ahead and read it. It's called Last Bite. All right. Wore the ring today, strapped a memory, wound circles around my brain. And like the frozen rubber of a deflated balloon on my backyard lagoon, I cannot move. All wrinkles when you say nothing, when you say the nothing of white noise, saying so much of us. So the last bite has been scraped. It is on my spoon, not the best one, but the only one. You are the base several doors down. I cannot make out. Can't make your face appear around the fuzz from my wine glass. You play. You are playful. The intelligence is not unmistaken, not lost and handsome. But I like to laugh, not work on stringed knots of your soft, wrapped about my gut. You don't get this. I don't want you when you don't want me. All is not lost, just detached.
We're going to go on a journey tomorrow night.